Hello and welcome back to the Tubs. What are we calling Tubs this time, Pez?
Telling you about stuff still.
Telling you about stuff still. We're telling you about stuff still. Right here at TJC, we are powered by Cred, and Cred are giving insane rewards. In fact, they're bringing insane rewards during this World Cup, just like if you're Glenn Maxwell's ear, nose and throat doctor. You might be getting a little payday yourself after one in the neck from Kamara. Is he okay? I want to make sure he's okay.
Papi described it as a bruise up.
It's just a bruise up.
Just a bruise up.
Absolute bruise up.
But that was Papi just on the field afterwards, so he might have just taken one look at him, done his own assessment. It just looks like a bruise up.
Okay, just a bruise up. Okay, well, last night Sri Lanka made 157 off their 20 overs, and Australia did that in 16.3 overs. They made 3 for 158. Shall we talk about the first thing, Pez? How are you feeling? A little scratchy throat, little sniffles, fever? You got any symptoms?
We're going to insert ourselves into the Zampa story.
Yeah.
Can assure everybody out there who's been asking us, nothing happened under those covers or on that bed that has led to Adam Zampa having COVID, okay? Haven't been tested, but...
Yeah. I am pregnant, though, so... I wouldn't say nothing happened. Okay, Pez, I want to start with this discussion in a negative tone.
Good.
Can I just say, mate, it is fucking extremely disappointing to have finally some T20 cricket in your home country to watch at a proper time. And then a game starts at 10 p.m. for, 90% of the country. That's so grim. That's real. Now, look, hey, great for Perth. You guys deserve match times for you. Population of 2 million over there in Perth. I'm not sure what the population of Western Australia is as a whole, but that's good, and you deserve that. 30,000 people there last night. That's pretty good for a Tuesday, I've got to say. But, I mean, fuck me. That is so disappointing to have a game start at 10 p.m. That fucking sucks.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid... disappointment. I was disappointed too. I'm particularly disappointed for kids who presumably powers that be might be interested in watching the World Cup. Then again, it's not Cricket Australia's tournament to administer. I'm curious about the forces that lead to a decision to play it at that time.
It's obviously McGowan. It's Western Australian government.
It's Western Australian.
Pulling their weight again. Pulling their weight again.
I've sort of done the number. I've crunched the numbers, and McGowan once again is wanting to stitch up the East Coast. And not a bad stitch up.
Good stitch up.
Not a bad
Good
little stitch up.
Good for you.
That's right. So CA doesn't administer the tournament, obviously, but it was disappointing. I think that's a valid disappointment to be home in the host country, and the home nation can't play a game of cricket at a time convenient to most of the home nation. That's tough. I'm not sure you see that in too many other places, in too many other sports. Mate. Usually the home nation is somewhat accommodated, nevertheless.
And also, it's a Tuesday night in Perth, so the game starts at 7, finishing 10:30. A lot of people travel up to an hour away from the grounds, probably even more. And that just means that there are no kids going to that because they're not going to be able to stay awake for that. It means people aren't going to go. They're not enticed because it was like $60 the cheapest ticket. And people go to work the next day. So
we're into Premier League territory, really, because you go, I can stay up till 10. It's like, no, the question isn't when it starts, it's when it finishes.
Yeah.
And that's when it ruled a lot of people out. Now, not me. As with the IPL, I watch every single ball of every game.
Well, mate, you were treated to something absolutely special because let's get into the first thing. Papi Stoinis. He breaks the record. 17 ball 50 broke the record that Tim David set the other week, equal with Dave. I'm not sure when Dave Warner did his record of 18 balls, but it was also the second fastest 50 in the World Cup. You remember Yuvraj Singh took down Stuart Broad in 2007.
Can't remember that. Yeah,
hit 36 off and over. That's the quickest. 12 balls does seem hard to beat, but so that's pretty good for Stoinis. Second fastest ever in a World Cup. He finished 59 red off 18. And wasn't he fucking jacked up to the eyeballs? Wasn't he pumped? What about the veins?
Mate, it's just what I've got here. Mate, Stoinis had veins popping.
Fuck yeah.
And, he's trying to bring blood and muscle to this drained Australian outfit. Like, it felt single-handed. When you look at the scores this morning, as many people will, having not watched the game, it will look like a comfortable Australian win, 3 down in what was 16 or so overs.
Yes.
In reality, I think it might be harsh to say, but I think Stoinis spared Australian blushes last night.
He came in at 3 for 89 when Maxwell got out. I'm not sure what over that was, but it was 3 for 89.
Yeah.
In fact, from the scoreboard, wasn't it?
We'll assess Australia a little bit later, but it definitely looks like they're a team for whom they're just going to keep sending guys out and hopefully someone comes off. Today it was Stoinis, and must be noted, this is the third time in, I suppose, 12 months where he's dug Australia out in a World Cup game that they needed to win.
Yeah.
So credit to Stoinis. 6 sixes. Blitzkrieg, slaughterhouse stuff, power, muscle. You love to see it. He was pumped. Seems like the whole Aussie team, like every time something good happens, they're oh no. ICC's here again.
It was the best time for the Perth audience.
They seem to be almost trying to confect a spark to get something going. So we'll come to that later. But Stoinis, in and of himself, he absolutely destroyed Hasaranga. And there was a lot of talk about his improvement in facing spin bowling. You could see that on display here. He credits the IPL for that. So fair play. Very few things better for me personally than Papi's success. On the cricket field and off, to be fair. Mate,
Western Australia's got some stuff and has been for a while. You know, there's some good gear going around. You know, as we know, there's a bloke floating around on the bench, 2 metres. That's something. Marsh batting 3, Stoinis on the side, Agar playing this game as well. I like the Western Australian gear at the moment. It's good. It's good.
There was just on West Australia gear, 2 moments to me. Like, again, this isn't this is all muddled now, but Mitch Marsh was dropped by a Sri Lankan player. I reserve the right not to know any other players when my own country's playing. That's an Australian rite of passage.
Disrespect everyone.
Disrespect everybody. If they play England, India, doesn't matter. They're just the other blokes. Someone dropped Marsh, and in the background you could see the cops clapping.
Yeah.
And then later on, and that's WA stuff. It's good. And then later on, when Papi was bossing and boshing them everywhere, everyone in the dugout was clapping except for Mitch Marsh, who was like swinging his towel around like he was supporting fucking Real Madrid.
I think Stoinis is a form player in the batting lineup at the moment. When he came back into the side, there was for the West Indies series before the tournament started. There was a little bit of chat that his spot might have been under a bit of pressure, whether that was true in the team or not. There was chat about that because of Tim David's introduction into the side in replace of Steve Smith, and I thought he showed a lot against the West Indies and maybe a little bit against England as well. I think he's in great nick, and I think he can drag this team into doing something, like maybe finishing 3rd in the group. As you said before, Hasaranga absolutely smoked, number 53 off 3 overs. He is by far and away, I think he's actually Sri Lanka's first cricket millionaire, they're calling him.
Right.
He's been fantastic for RCB in the IPL.
We talk about cricketers in prize money now, like tennis. Career prize money.
I thought actually though, mate, Maxwell sort of changed the game after what happened in the power play. We'll talk about what happened in that power play. Well, and the lack of boundaries, i.e. 0 boundaries in the batting power play for Australia. Maxwell changed the game. I thought he took down Hasaranga. He was the first one to do it. 22 of his first 6 balls. He finished 23 off 12. So, but then out to a short ball again, which was actually a fucking brilliant catch by the sub Bandara. So that chase improves Australia's net run rate to minus 1.5.
You beauty.
They're still under Sri Lanka in that regard. So if you want me to do some stat dog stuff here, woof Pez. Woof. Last year's teams they finished 2nd in the groups. Now this is just one sample size, so it means fuck all probably. But the teams finishing 2nd in the groups last year had a net run rate of 1.1 and 1.2. South Africa won the same amount of games as Australia last year. They 4 out of 5. They were under Australia on net run rate. They were plus 0.7. So I think Australia's best chance to actually qualify may in fact be for New Zealand to beat England, and obviously either way Australia must beat England on Friday night, although it is supposed to rain every day this week. It's actually pissing down here in Melbourne right now. So that could be either the washout or a reduced game, or they could play. Those are the 3 options.
Cheers.
So yeah, I guess my point being that that they're going to need they need to pump everyone to even have a look. But I think their best chance actually might be the Kiwis beating England, and who knows if that is even possible. All right, second thing, in the first innings, Asalanka made it competitive. He finished 30 out of 25. Nasanka steadied the ship early doors. He was 40 or 45 over in the batting before an extremely bad run out where he smashed the ball straight to Mitch Marsh on the side of the run, then stop. That was embarrassing for him. Diane Jana, 26 off 23 before being caught by David Warner, who was fucking sensational. Mate, it actually might have been Nasanka where he caught the ball running over his head. Reminded me of Steve Waugh in the MCG in 19 and then flicked it back in, mate. That is unbelievable. So that's like, in the, that sort of shit would make like Sports Center. which is when we know cricket's good, when it makes American television.
Anything in Australia is good if America picks it up, including foreign policy.
Exactly. Anything else from what do you want to talk about with Sri Lanka's batting innings? They sort of limped it along to 157.
I thought it was noteworthy that Stark didn't open the bowling in that innings. They went with Hazelwood and Cummins. I think that that's a concession that, all is not perfect. And as Australians, we expect all things to be perfect.
Not a matchup thing, you don't think?
It may be explained that way, but really, like, Stark's opening spell against New Zealand was the moment where the game was lost. And
that's true.
And perhaps... that's not to say that Stark lost the game for them, but that's when it happened because of the nature of his bowling. It can kind of, it's mercurial sometimes, and it can go both ways. They perhaps were looking for a little bit more control at the start of the innings so that they could build their way into a match, a team that's a little bit down on confidence. So I think, perhaps it will be explained as a matchup, but I think that he was taken off that role. I mean, Mitch Stark, if he's in form, he takes the new pill and he swings it.
He's legitimately not swinging the ball.
Yeah.
Which is, Bolt can swing anything. He could even turn me, but around corners. But Stark is like just stopped. He stopped swinging it altogether, which is weird.
Well,
rhythm thing. I don't know.
Let's just keep an eye on it for in a way that will have no bearing on whatever happens. I thought that was noteworthy. Australia conceded 23 extras. I still think there were some good moments in the field. There was still some sloppiness. Cummins dropped the catch. Finch appears good for a missed field or two, an innings as well. Obviously, all things are said with respect. So again, with the Australia lens on, I think Sri Lanka were at 120 after 17.3, maybe 122 after 17.5, and you're thinking Australia have done pretty well here and it should be comfortable enough. Cummins bowled the death over. Is that the plan going forward? I'm not sure that's a common thing that happens in the Aussie team. Might have to stat dog that or even just watch or look it up. But they seem a bit disjointed, the Aussie team, to me.
Cummins' most expensive bowler again, 1 for 36 off 4 going at 9s. He did get Kusal Mendes, which is a big wicket to be fair on his first over. Although you would think that he'd go well at the MCG, given what we saw in Pakistan against India the other night with that pace attack and the ball going through the chest and stuff. You'd think he'd be a good chance there. I don't know. I just wouldn't mind seeing something from Pat Cummins in a T20 game ever.
Well, as we've been maintaining the whole time, the Aussies are tapering very well. Very well. This game against England could be one of the great destructive performances of all time.
It's been building up.
It could be a record win.
Yeah.
That's how this is meant to go, right?
Third thing, Pez, can Finch see the ball?
Well,
he made 31 not out off 42. He's batting with the new Gray Nichols pool cue. Which is coming out this summer. His strike rate was 73.8 is during his unbeaten 31 of 42. It's the slowest innings by any batter in the men's T20 World Cup for a minimum of 30 runs.
Well, I will start with Aaron Finch's own words, which on the field, which were, "My innings was unusual, poor. I couldn't hit the ball."
See, I rate that. I can get round Finchy with that. That's good. That is good.
Subsequently, that is the attitude that then makes you good influence around the side. Good influence.
Yes.
You're right about that record. He was also dropped multiple times.
Yep.
I want to run a counter to it, which is, I'm sure not by design, but it has worked out this way. Like, one thing Australia were lacking in that chase against New Zealand, which was always a tough chase, was the anchor, was the person that was going to bat deep, stay at one end to permit the other players to play their game. Australia is a hitter-heavy side. If you've got hitters at both ends, it's imbalanced, and you're just running the risk that only one person is going to have it come off for them. Whereas Finch, again, not by design, he took up 40 balls. He carried his bat. He played the anchor role. He didn't mean to, but he did. And the chase looked a little bit more possible with someone not getting out. So, to be fair to Finch, at least he didn't get out. And actually, it's not how he's trying to play, but it kind of is working out that way. I do think the batting lineup does require that kind of player. The only other player inside who can do that is Steve Smith, but I don't think there's a suggestion that Steve Smith comes in for Aaron Finch. They're not going to replace the captain mid-tournament. It's just not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
So, you know, even if Finch isn't able to take down a team, which he hasn't for a long time, at the very least, he's contributed something that has permitted others to flourish.
Okay, I'll go with you here because it was good because Bandara took that fantastic catch off Maxwell, the ball after he dropped Finch. And I think that might have been a little bit...
Well, you did that in under 11s, didn't you? for patrons out there.
So, but yeah, we've seen Rizwan do this against England at home, and then in the New Zealand series where he was anchoring, opening the batting. Now Rizwan has the potential to also take down attacks. You know, I suppose I can see what's going on here with that viewpoint, and also like some of these wickets have a bit in it. You know, because it's October in Australia and it's been wet as fuck for 3 years, and they're definitely not flat. Now, New Zealand hit 200 at the SCG. That's pretty good, which seems completely at odds with other scores going on in the tournament. So,
but mate, you know what? Like, Finch makes more. If Finch is going to play that role, he makes more sense down the order. He makes more sense at 4.
Yeah.
But the question would be who then goes up top. It would be one of Maxwell, Stoinis, Tim David, or maybe even Matt Wade. But Matt Wade's got his position there.
What about this? What about this?
What about their power play's cooked?
What about Cummins out, Green in? Green opens batting, bowls 4 overs. Cummins out. I don't see the point of Cummins at the moment.
Perfect
Pat. I mean,
perfect Pat.
Like, you know, love Pat Cummins. Love everything he's about.
No one's even said that.
And
that actually makes sense.
And I want him to take 80 wickets this Test summer.
And I'd never say it if he was sitting right there.
No.
On the thing there.
No, I'd be lending it for a kiss, if anything.
Oh, I'll be rubbing his leg, hoping he's playing footsies with me. I'm not saying he's merely a sexual object,
but so that would make Wade 8, David 7, Stoinis 6, Maxwell 5, Finch 4, Marsh 3, Green 2, Warner 1.
Yeah, that's not.
Isn't that a better team?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I literally just thought of that on there.
Yeah,
so
yeah. You happy?
A little bit.
I'm sort of going with you. Sort of. I'll give myself a little qualification there.
So couldn't make a pump. It never worked.
Someone else says something sort of online. I'm like, I said sort of. I was just. No, you know what? I mean, really. Sorry, I know you're going to hashtag, but like, and we got to get going here. But Mark Wall on overnight, who does say like he does tell it straight. From time to time, he believes the selectors have been conservative for far too long, and I think that's fair.
I agree. Hashtag ICGC. Calvin wrote in Pez, and he wrote in via Patreon. Boys, Sri Lanka dropped Finch a couple of times today. First one allowed Maxwell to get strike and then was out next ball. The second time was when David was next batsman in. So question is, despite not paying off in the end result, do you think Sri Lanka listened to Higgins' confession of dropping the ball on purpose to keep the lad that can't score a run in? Cheers.
Well, can I do this background?
Please.
Because, I mean, you probably know the story. Higgins told this story because
it happened to me.
Because you were there.
Yeah, and I told the story.
But he goes, I just thought it was more like, because he did such an incredibly funny thing. If you are on Patreon, patreon.com/Grey Cricket, he tells his story in great detail. But basically, in under 11s, there was a scenario where you wanted to keep a player in because he was batting so badly.
Yeah, because like the guy, it was like under 11s, and so the guy that had retired at 30 not out, he was next. He was going to come in once the 10th wicket was taken, and so
how old were you?
11, 10. Something like that.
And so with the retired player who was good set to come back in and the number 11 bat less good, let's say.
He was less good.
You'd say he'd listen to a Black Eyed Peas song.
Let's get it started.
Right,
yes.
He hit the ball at, where were you?
Mid-wicket. Yep.
Pretty simple catch, a dolly. And you've, people are watching on YouTube. Could you sort of demonstrate?
It was one of the ones where the ball had no revolutions on it.
Oh, it stayed ball. Yeah. Like that. So it actually wobbles a bit. And that's what you said.
Yeah, loss of the sun.
and what was how do you demonstrate how you dropped it? Like was it demonstrative?
I think at the time we described it as someone like in the back of a cab who drunk too much on the way to the next venue. They were throwing up and they were trying to catch it in their hands and just letting it like just spill out. Just let it go through the fingers. So that's what Sri Lanka was doing.
It could have been that. I think this Aussie side, mate. I mean, we're making jokes about people deliberately keeping the captain in and stuff. Like, I feel like this Aussie side's trying to you know, they're falling foul of the Kierkegaard philosophy. You know, Kierkegaard wrote a book on repetition, and he was just saying, you know, what was he saying about repetition? You know, like repetition is warded off and is impossible. Repetition, they're trying to recreate the UAE. They're trying to get a spark going. They're confecting it too much. It's Cella Luna. It's fucking Maxwell, you know, celebrating just a normal catch. They're trying to get stuff going. They need to create a new vibe for this World Cup, the Australian side. They need a new thing, home country, hosting, etc. I don't know what it is. But we need to stop getting into scenarios where people are dropping the captain on purpose. Because it's not feeling good.
But you know what? At the same time, I fucking love Finch so much. He's mate, as if you can't rate that. Coming to the shows, boys, I couldn't fucking hit the thing.
Couldn't see it. Couldn't hit it. Oh, wait, he didn't say that. Oh, he said that.
I think he's not far away from having a restricted license. Not being able to leave more than 10 kilometres from the house. All right. Thank you very much to Cred, as always. Thank you, Judy, for sticking around with us. And we'll be back in, mere hours, I'm going to guess, for the next thing. And tell you what, it's a massive game on Friday night. Cheers.